is my channel, and I am just, let me just say, to be honest with you, I am a little bit tired because I've been working really hard with a lot of technical issues. You know, one of those days where you get up and you have all these million things on your mind and you're going to, conquer the world, and there goes a lot of technical issues. Anyway, welcome to my channel. This is Tell IJ, and this is a channel where we talk about all real life issues, family relationships, basically relationships in general, and talk about travels and what have you. And perhaps soon we'll be talking more about stories. Anyway, I just wanted to come in here. Like I said, I wasn't really planning to do this YouTube this evening, but something's been weighing on my mind for a little while. And I just thought I'll come in here and share it with some of you, at least some of you parents. And perhaps let's get some conversation going. And what is it? Before I go ahead, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel so when I post my next video, you'll be amongst the first to know. And of course, to share this video with your friends and your family so they get to know a bit more about my channel. Now, what am I talking about? Well, it's not exactly a happy topic, but it's a topic perhaps some parents, wherever they are in the world, do go through. And as a mother of three, like I said, it's been weighing on my heart for the past few 3 4 days. And it's to do with this case recently. Some of you, if you're watching from England, it was on Daily Mail Online and on BBC, where we read of the unfortunate case of a lady in Dagenham, East London. I believe she was Nigerian, a Nigerian British lady, and her son, 28, allegedly deleted her. Now, that was shocking. Then, yet again, a couple of days later, I came across some of a similar kind of thing that happened somewhere in America. And we know it's not the first time we've heard of, I have to be very careful of the word I use on YouTube. It's not the first time we've heard of such V. If I say V, you all know what I mean. VIOL and so on. And often, where it concerns families and children, especially in the West, where we are more open in discussing issues that concerns us as families. Unlike certain parts of Africa, Nigeria especially, I say Nigeria especially because although I don't cover a lot about Nigeria, I do follow quite a few Nigerian stories here and there. And unfortunately, I would say the more I get to hear about certain things about Nigeria today, I get baffled. Baffled sometimes because sometimes I say to myself, oh my God, these were kind of things we heard of, but you really didn't see or think anyone would be that way. Then you hear about some horrific situations and the mentality of both parents sometimes and children. In fact, generally this society, and you get a little bit very disappointed. So going back to what I was talking about, it is about this case of the son, and obviously the mom was found, deleted in her home in Dagenham in East London, and unfortunately we are yet to have a conclusive news from the police or from whoever is taking care of the case. But we do know from all indications it was something that seemingly looked like, and of course from different reports all over YouTube, it was all over YouTube last week, and it kind of depressed me, and you could almost infer that there have been quite an awful lot of V going on in that household. And so when I was looking at several channels and reading, I do like to read people's comments. Of course, reading people's comments often gives you an indication of what people are thinking. And so And like someone did ask, what is a 28-year-old man, not even a boy, doing living with his mom? And apparently, from the look of things, it would appear the mom was a single mom. If I'm not wrong, the lady was 62 or 63 last week when all this happened, and the son 28. And obviously, they were, or she was Nigerian, and there's no doubt you could tell, it's one of the common kind of stories we all know where it was quite clear the mom would have left Nigeria probably some 30 years ago or whatever that was, and gave birth or decided to bring a child over to the UK to give her or him a better life. And who would have predicted? I mean, no parent goes out of their way if you knew something will harm your child and you do it. Every parent I know, especially their parents, people like we all emigrated from somewhere, but if they are immigrated from somewhere rather. And the point is that the way each person has settled, whether you're in the UK, Canada, Germany, USA, Spain, blah blah blah, all depends on your personal circumstance. But I have come to realize, of course, we all used to hear, we all knew there were a lot of people that left Nigeria, because they were seeking better lives. But the more I get to hear of the sacrifices of what a lot of these diasporans have been through, and many of them, some people even do what many of us will not even dream of doing, where you're forced to leave your children back in Nigeria just because you want to make a better way in the UK or US or Germany or where have you. Then at a time you now bring that child over here. You bring your son or your daughter or your children or your husband. And of course, who does that except because you love your children, you love your husband or wife, and you all are hoping for a better life. But unfortunately, in this case, and this is not the first time I've heard of a case like this. In fact, there was one that happened last year or two. Like I said, this lady would have been a single mother because from all report and indication, it didn't seem like there was anyone else living in the residence with her and the son, except that the son was living there. But what I wanted to pick out were some of the comments. One of the comments, like I said, asked, what is a 28-year-old man doing living with the mother? And then another one pointed at, and again, that's something I never knew. Yes, I am Nigerian born, but I didn't realize in the UK, I don't know about the US, but from what I gathered from three channels, it seems like, according to what they were reporting, that a lot of our Nigerian male children or Nigerian British children, whatever you want to say, whether they're second generation or what have you, seem to be the more problematic than the girls. Now, I've never experienced that angle or to notice that boys are more problematic. In my opinion, I would have said all children, but who am I to talk? After all, children are different. But let me take the point about what is a grown man doing living with his mother. That would have come from many factors. It could have been, we all know how expensive it is in the UK. In fact, there are grown men in their 30s, 40s. Sometimes they move out to live on their own, and for what circumstance or the other. And of course, today with the high cost of living, coupled with the high cost of rent and what have you, some people, if they're lucky, may decide to move back home. There's no shame in that as far as I see. If it means that you're helping your child to step up the property ladder, maybe they want to move back to be able to save all that money they would have spent on rental and buy their own home. There's so many reasons. Then the other angle of someone saying, oh, in fact, one of the ladies who was talking from her own channel, who's Nigerian, was talking about, which made me understand from her the way she was talking that it would appear some of our children, when you tell them to go to school, they tell you, oh, mom, oh, I don't want to go, I don't need to go to university to be rich, to do well. And unfortunately, such children sometimes when they don't take up the higher education to gain some skills, some qualification, God forbid, that's the kind of person who will find that their job offers are very limited, and then you're stuck. Then suddenly you start depending on mom or dad who have been telling you all those years, go and get your qualifications. And then there was this aspect of me thinking, which we have all heard also, and that's what prompted me to come and just speak my mind. I'm no qualified um, person. I said I'm qualified in the university of raising three wonderful children and raising the university of being a mother for the past 27 years almost. And so I am speaking from the university of experience. And that is my third point. Some people raise the, oh, how maybe, some children are raised. Some tended in the comments I read, trying to blame parents. Some tended to understand the difficulties most parents face, especially in diaspora, which means it's not just diaspora. So that's why I was going to put diaspora on this title and said remove it, because what I want to address briefly concerns every parent, whether you're British, American, Asian, Arabian, or you're living in Nigerian community, Kenyan community, Ghanaian community, Irish community. It concerns all of us. It's not just a diaspora, but I suppose and understand when people just take it to the angle of diasporans, it comes from a place which I myself do understand. You're talking about parents who have been raised in a certain way, like I was raised in a certain way. My children know there's certain things. I personally, I know you hear about stories. People say, "Oh, some people travel and they forget who they are and all that." No, I was raised in a very grounded home. I knew who I was. We weren't poor, we weren't Richard Branson, but we weren't starving either. So for me, money wasn't anything that would move me just because it's money. We were raised old school to have values. So when some people talk about, oh, the way the values are and the kind of parents, I understand. I also understand that with those values comes a lot of challenges to those parents. But let's take it back. That's another topic for another video. What I wanted to stress upon was the issue of some people mentioning how some children are raised. And what I want to pick up from there, I'm not necessarily going to discuss how children are raised, but what I want to say is say to any parent watching this, if you stumbled across this video, by the way, hit the like button, subscribe. So when I post another video, you'll be amongst the first to know. And please, by all means, share this with your friends and family, especially if they're other parents. And what I'm about to say is that, first of all, if you're a parent and you've been going through some kind of domestic disturbances, I'll put it that way because I don't want to use the word fee because of the way YouTube, monetizes and all that, or they may strike my video. So if you're going through those kind of issues at home, please, especially those of African background, from what I've listened, I know not all of us can shake off, nobody is shaking off all the traditions of the beliefs you're raised in. But what I always try to tell people is we all have to learn to blend. And I do understand that it's not every African parent, even when they've been here 20, 30 years, that is capable of that. But I want to say you cannot blame most parents, at least. I say most, because we know there are some parents, from what I've heard, what I've come to realize, who don't always care. Everything is just about money, money, money. How much am I going to work and save and go home and pose and all whatnot? Meanwhile, you don't know your children. That's another video for another time. But if you're a parent and you're going through issues with your child at home, especially teenagers or grown-ups, please, I plead with you, do not let what people will say, do not let of course it's embarrassing, but it's not embarrassing that any parent, anyone that's ever parented a child, nobody can blame you. Personally, that's where I see life. Maybe I'm different. If you have an issue, there is help out there. Look in your local services. Ask for help. Somebody will be there to help you, because you see, the little we learned about this lady that was deleted by the son, you could tell it was something that was probably ongoing for a long time. And from the kind of comments people were making in several YouTube videos I was following, like some people say, oh, probably out of shame, the mother didn't want to ask for help, out of this. And that apparently seems to be one of the handicaps of many different communities. And I want to say to you, as a mom, as a dad, there's no shame in asking for help, because unfortunately, our society currently, we constantly hammer about child V, children A. You know what I mean? ABUS. I don't want to say it because I don't want my video to be flagged. But the truth of the matter is, from the reports we'll be hearing the last 3-4 years, at least I have, occasionally, so you hear things on BBC News or ITV News that strikes you, and you kind of wonder, what kind of child would do that to a parent? And the truth is that white, black, yellow, pink, there are parents and adults who have been harmed by their own children. But because society, we don't talk about, just like the way we don't often talk about men who are suffering from V, from women, but often we talk about women who have been out by men and all that kind of thing. And hence people are literally deleting in silence. And rather than wait till things escalate, because you see, where there's heat in a home, I can't even imagine. I mean, we live in a country, unlike Nigeria or most African countries, the culture we live in and the way our houses are built is, whether you like it or not, pray you and your family are close, it makes us closer as families. So can you imagine if there's toxicity in your home and you just keep it down because you're worried about what some people that don't even matter in your life, they don't pay your bills, all the highest will do if they're foolish people is just blab their mouth. But the truth is that you should be thinking, I love my son, I love my daughter. And if someone is behaving in a very odd way that is going to affect you physically, then you need to pick up the phone as a parent and ask for help. There is help out there. There is only, if you, even if you don't know where, Google it wherever you are. There's no need for you to suffer in silence. It is rather unfortunate that we live in a society, where bringing up children has never been harder than the recent years. And someone asked me earlier this year, for a second person, um, called me out of the blues. Oh, can he ask me, how did I raise such wonderful children? And I wasn't going to lie. I told him, to be honest, of course, my kids are wonderful. I'm very proud of them. But the truth is, I would be lying if I was going to pretend that person and say, oh, it's very easy. My children were very special. No, I said, and that's what I said to you. If you believe in prayers, and I hope you do, to raise children today, you need prayers. And prayers is always praying over them. Pray for God to give you strength. Pray for Holy Spirit to direct you, because none of us was born a parent. And praying that you are doing the right thing for them at the right time. Then you need physical strength, like my mother used to say. When I say physical, because they will do things sometimes that will tire you, and it's easy to let them, we've seen it with some parents, rather than discipline their children. Oh, some will say, I don't want any argument, anything she likes. Hell no. You have to discipline children, is not easy, especially, as I said to my friend, between the ages of, let's just say, it all depends on you. That's why they call them teenagers. But I would say, usually for most people, not for me, usually between the age of 12, it could be 12 to 13, it could be 13 to 14, it could be 16 to 18. But what's important as a parent, especially mothers, is to retain the discipline you believe in your home. And retaining that discipline means sometimes you're telling them no. And of course, we also know the way the law has been made in most of the Western world does not make it easy. Hence, you need strength, physical strength, you need mental strength, but above all, you need that spiritual strength through prayers. And you continue to do that consistently. That's how you produce young men and women that will look back. Do you know how many times man have said, Mom, I mean, I'm even lucky they weren't even crazy like what you hear. But the truth is, at one time or the other, your teenager may say, "Oh, I want to go to this party, I want to do this." And you are saying, "Brother Camly, no." And they're going to try to challenge you. But what is the difference is knowing that when you say no, your children understand no. And no is not being draconian like you're authoritarian. It's about discussing and making them understand the reasons behind what you do. And as they get older, you give them more leeway. And also, for me personally, I'm not saying everybody must. Part of what is also important as a family, whether you're a single mother, single father, a family, is raising a family, children with faith. Christian faith is a very important way that helps. I'm not saying it obfuscates everything. After all, we hear about pastors, their children are so crazy, you just have to feel sorry for the children. But why I say faith is that more often than not, faith helps both you, the children, and the family stand fast. And because you raise the children in faith, more often than not, they themselves will think twice before they do certain things. Whilst it's okay, not everybody has to have faith. I'm not saying is the only key thing. I'm just using my own personal experience to share. And so you cannot blame any parent who has tried their best or trying their best. But what I wanted to say is do not suffer in silence. Do your best as much as you can to give your child the discipline they need before they get much older. We don't know what caused this lady's issue, but what I know would have been, without even waiting for the conclusion, is the fact that it would appear from all the things I read and heard last week, maybe someone felt too embarrassed to ask for help. And if the help had been given, one, like some people were saying, there was no reason why a 28-year-old man should be living at home with the mother. And that may never have happened. And I say again, there is nothing wrong with a 28-year-old man living with the mother or parents if that 28-year-old man or woman is respectful of their parents or mother or father and vice versa. If you have, you like many families, you get on well, you know each other, you respect your children, and your children respect you. And I don't mean respect that African toxicity way. I say African toxicity because, yes, I say it and I say it boldly, especially from Nigeria, I don't know much about Ghana, but I suspect the same, and some African countries where people are so toxic the way they treat. I'm not saying every parent is perfect and not every child is perfect, but when I talk about respect, people have to understand that respect is not about age. Because what tends to happen, and why I say toxicity, is where people have run with that old thick-headed mentality they don't want to change. They will tell you why they are older than you and demand respect from you. But you, the older or younger brother, sister, or cousin, or whoever, or help someone helping in their home, they feel they can treat you anyhow and still they demand respect. They don't give you respect. But no, that's wrong. We all have to move with time. The way our parents raised children back then, even not just Africa, as people in the UK in the old days, in fact, some things mirror exactly what still goes on in Africa today. But what is the difference? The difference is as time goes on, you change the way you treat your children or your younger brothers or your younger sisters or your younger cousins, because for there to be peace, we are all humans, first of all. God doesn't look at each of us and say, oh, my child, you're the firstborn I put in that mother's womb, therefore this and that. Oh, therefore, the blessings I will give you is different and you're less in my eyes than the one I put in the middle or the last. No. Every human being feels pain. We feel hurt. We feel love. And we feel respect. We know when we respect, even like my 17-year-old knows I am mommy. And when I say respect, it doesn't mean respect that your child is scared to voice their opinion. And even if they voice their opinion, that's another thing that happens with toxicity in African culture. And someone voices their opinion because you feel you're so big, you're so big in age or whatever is going on in your head, just for the fact that that person does not agree with you, that becomes that they are now your enemy. No, that's not the kind of respect we want to teach our children. At the same time, we don't want to seem like we are laissez-faire with our children, that they don't know where the boundaries are. So, like I said, there's no manual for being a parent. But anyway, I won't go on with this. I just want to get this off my chest. I kept thinking about this woman, and may God rest her soul. It's so sad, and I just want to plead with any parent out there, please, especially those of you in African or Asian communities, please, there is no shame in the game. Only people will always talk. Let's be honest. I was going to say only a foolish person. People will always talk. Don't think about all the time what will people say. It's what will people say that has kept a lot of people in poisonous marriages. And we hear stories. And whilst we don't advocate, but there are things where a relationship is not going well, or your child is not behaving the way they should be behaving, then you know you need help. And help is not going to some pastor who is always trying to pretend they know what they're done, because they're not exactly trained therapists. They're not exactly trained people that will give you that community help. You need to call the right numbers. Google your area. You find the number, talk to somebody, they will give you help. You're never alone. Definitely not in the UK. I'm sure even in the US and most parts of the world. I mean, I have lived in many countries around the world, and I know of all the Western world. From Australia, I lived in Australia, to Fiji Islands, even Fiji, to the West. There is always help out there. You're not in third world. Even third world countries, they are trying now. Although I hear from some people, they often say they have all the services, but nobody really pushes it. Either way, please do not allow yourself suffer in silence. And don't ever, as a parent, doubt yourself or beat yourself up and think that something you did wrong. No, that my children turned out well or another person's children is not by our might. It's just by the grace of God, prayers, and sheer determination to keep pushing them until they come out of that adolescent stage where they think they can conquer the world. And that is the best time you want to mold them. And trust me, they look back, they thank you all the time. They will cherish you, they will love you, they will respect you. And if your child is not doing what you expect them to be doing, please don't beat yourself up. Find whatever lights your heart. Keep on praying. Don't lose hope. If they need help, get them help. Help can't be without you. But your life and your well-being and mental state is key. So never feel guilty, because just because we're parents, everybody says you have to be strong. That I am strong doesn't mean you have to pretend to be strong until you break. And there's no shame in it. Pat yourself on the back for the job you've done. You can only do your best. After all, many children, even the good ones, it's not all advice you give children today that they listen to, which is why I keep going on about prayers. You pray. Sometimes, even when they're doing well, you say, oh, you ask personally, you still pray and say, God, please help them hear this advice I'm going to give them about their career, about their whatever. We don't stop being parents till the day we're not here. Although some people, view differently, but again, that's my culture coming into it. I'm always parenting. Yes, mine are living, at least the two other ones are living on their own, very successful, very level-headed, wonderful, young man, woman. I still parent, and at least respectfully, whether they're going to listen or not. Okay, mommy. Okay, I'll think about it, and then you just follow it up with prayer. That's all. Anyway, on this note, thank you for stopping by. I rambled on. I thought I was going to make this just a short video, but this is just a short live. My name is IJ. Tell IJ is my channel, and please come and share a story if you do have one. Hit the like button, subscribe to um, join my channel, support my channel, and of course, very soon I'll be giving out some little surprises to my subscribers. So you don't want to miss that. And of course, do share this video with your friends and family. And if you have a topic you'd like me to talk about, as you can see, this is a young channel, and believe it or not, it can be quite difficult coming up with a topic. So I invite you to drop me a line in the comment box, and I promise when I have chance, I'll chat back to you. And if you have a topic you want me to talk about, by all means, please put it in, and it will be my pleasure. And who knows, I might even invite you over on one of my lives so we can both dissect the topic and hope to learn and don't learn from one another. Thank you again for stopping by. My name is IJ, and you have a wonderful evening from here in London. And wherever you are in the world, you take care and God bless. Bye-bye.